Hi, this is Mike Franzone, and this is Mike Franzone Ministries. Today, we're going to look at something special today in what I call 6 mistakes you should avoid in order to live an amazing life. 6 mistakes you should avoid in order to live an amazing life. Do you remember the old adage, we learn from our mistakes? Winston Churchill put it this way, all men make mistakes, but only wise men learn from their mistakes. So mistakes are part of being human. People, after thousands of years, people have not changed. We all mess up sometimes, and we find out that history does tend to repeat itself. But the wonderful thing is this. When you fail, when you make mistakes, that's not the end of the story. You can learn from your mistakes. You can learn from your failures. Oscar Wilde wrote, "Experience is simply the name we give our mistakes. Mistakes and failures are wonderful teachers." Now, 2,000 years ago, there was a Roman politician, lawyer, and philosopher who wrote down 6 statements. He called them 6 mistakes mankind keeps making century after century. So today, we want to look at that. I'm going to update it a little bit for us here living in the 21st century. But we will look at 6 mistakes you should avoid in order to live an amazing life. But first, I got to give you a little background of Marcus Tullius Cicero. Born January 3rd, 106 BC, died December 7th, 43 BC, a Roman philosopher, a lawyer, a politician. He was considered to be the greatest orator and prose stylist that Rome ever had. Cicero had championed the return to the traditional Republican values and the Republican government that Rome had at one time. Now, he's so famous and so well known that they tell us that he was a Roman consul, they called it. Now, the Roman consul, I guess he was elected in 63 BC, was the highest elected office in the Roman Republic. One of his great quotes, and he's quoted many quotes, but one of his great quotes is this: "Where there's life, there's hope." The sad thing is that Cicero became the enemy of Mark Antony, and after Julius Caesar died, there was a power struggle, and 3 of the generals actually came together and took the empire and split up in 3 ways, the Roman Empire. And Cicero attacked Antony in a series of speeches. Well, obviously, Antony declared him as enemy of the state, and he was eventually executed. But he had a great impact, especially on the leaders of the Enlightenment, on the thinkers and the political theorists, people like John Locke, David Hume, Montesquieu, and even Edmund Burke. He was hailed by the Renaissance writers as the greatest influence. He was considered to be the godfather of the scholars of the Age of Enlightenment. So he was a pretty cool guy and a pretty famous guy. But what he wrote in his quote that I want to take today and kind of build on it today was 6 mistakes that we should avoid in order to live a wonderful or amazing life. All right, let's not waste any time. Number 1, the delusion that personal gain is made by crushing others. Today, it's especially with politicians, the end justifies the means. It's believing that success must always be at the expense of others. People who stop at nothing to get what they want. We've seen it in politics. I've seen it in churches. We've seen it in families. But the Bible says, what does it profit a man if he gains the whole world and loses his own soul? Don't lose your soul. You don't have to trample on other people to get what you want. It is a delusion to think that personal gain is made by crushing others. You will not only hurt others, but you will hurt yourself and you will lose your own soul. All right, here's the 2nd mistake we need to avoid in order to have an amazing life, and that is this: the tendency to worry about things that cannot be changed or corrected. Worry is a waste of time. But let's be honest, we all do it. Worry is just a waste of energy. It keeps you from being creative. And we are, We all want to be in control of things, right? And see, there are things that we can control and things that we cannot control. If I stink, I can take a bath, I can brush my teeth, I can use deodorant, I can control that. But I can't control my height, my race, my parentage. Those are things I cannot control. Worry depletes us of energy and destroys our mood. It makes us tired, stressed out, and even affects our health. Worry is just going to take you down. There are things that you can change and things you cannot change. Accept the things that you cannot change and accept the things that you can change. Your life will be much better. All right, number 3 mistake. Insisting that a thing is impossible because we cannot accomplish it. Think about that. Alexander the Great said this: there is nothing impossible to him who will try. I mean, even the Bible says there's things that there are things with man that are impossible. Things with God are always possible. No one knows enough to be a pessimist. Limiting others because of your own liabilities is the worst form of tyranny. And what happens is it destroys creativity and it destroys vision. That's what negativism does. But optimism is one of the most powerful traits a human being can possess. And optimism will move you in the direction of the impossible, and that's when miracles can happen. Number 4 mistake. Refusing to set aside trivial preferences. Refusing to set aside, here's the key word, trivial preferences. So my question to you is, are you kicking at anthills? Are you kicking at anthills when you should be climbing mountains? Okay, the toothpaste cap seat is left up, right? All right, sorry your favorite team lost. Sorry mom didn't make you your favorite meal. So what's really important? What is your true north? We need to learn to enjoy every moment of life, whether good or bad. Every time you get up in the morning, it's a gift from God. When you take your first breath, I guess you need to have a good sense of humor. A good sense of humor will save you. We are so caught up in all the trivial. We need to put those things aside. All right, number 5. All right, 5 mistake. Number 5 mistake. Refinement of the mind and not acquiring the habit of reading and studying. Ernest Hemingway once said, there is nothing noble in being superior to your fellow man. True nobility is being superior to your former self. And here's what I mean by that. Living things grow, dead things don't. I know a lot of people who got out of college and they never picked up another book. So after we finished, after we finished, many just quit reading. They just gave up. But you can't quit growing. You see, every successful leader is a lifelong leader. One of the greatest habits you can pick up is to learn to read. I mean, look at the way we have the internet. We've got all the advantages here. Internet, Facebook. You've got books online, books on tape. Reading and learning will open up a new world and vistas for you. Aristotle said, we are what we repeatedly do. There is no excuse today. Don't quit learning. Always learn. You will keep growing. Your life will be amazing. And number 6, the 6th mistake, attempting to compel others to believe and live as we do. Trying to force other people to be just like us and to live like us. How much time are you spending energy and effort trying to get someone to do your bidding? Trying to get someone to agree with all of your beliefs? Trying to get someone to all change their ways? Aren't you tired? Kind of reminds me of government overreach. That progressive mentality that we all have to believe the same thing, we all have to speak the same thing, we all have to dress alike and act alike. That is called political correctness. My friend, we are all on a journey, and we cannot force others to believe or live just like we do. I live my life, you live your life. I have an opinion, you have an opinion. I'm a preacher, I'm called by God, right, to call people back to God, but that is still their choice. I can't force them to do that bidding. I can't force them to be like I want them to be. I can only present the message. They must make that choice. I believe it was Gandhi who said, "Be the change you wish to see in the world." My friend, here are 6 mistakes that you and I should avoid in order to live an amazing life.